the Focusrite Sapphire range. The only interfaces with Focusrite pre's. Focusrite, the interface company.
We're here at the last day of the AES show in New York with Scott on the Waves booth. He's got a piece of software that solves a problem that many of us have had, which is getting vocals level without beating them into submission using a compressor. This is called Vocal Rider, and apparently it's available for all the different plugin formats, so watch it.
Thanks, Paul. So right now, the Vocal Rider was set up to work for both music, voiceover, dialogue, as well as in a live application. And in this scenario, we're working with a music track. So the plugin has a few really neat intuitive controls. So first off, what we're going to do is set a sidechain key input and define that as bus 1. Now I've got all of my backing music tracks, everything but my vocal track being bused to that sidechain key input. What this means is that Vocal Rider is going to use all that information to determine how much of those fader motions are going to happen, right? The sensitivity control here allows the operator to determine how much of that priority, how much of that music is actually going to play a role. So for voiceover dialogue information, generally that music control is going to be set fairly low with a higher priority, more emphasis put on the vocal component. In this scenario, because we have music with a backing track, we're going to set that music component a bit higher so that fader sees that information and makes the fader adjustments accordingly. From there, we then select our range of fader motions from plus 12 to minus 12, and then a resting point for our fader, so where our fader returns to in moments of silence. You also have a basic output control. Another neat feature is the fast and slow setting. So another user-friendly parameter. So for voiceover dialogue stuff, maybe you have a faster setting. In a more musical situation, a slower fader motion. So why don't we pop it into bypass and do a pass and see what it looks like. Okay. All right, so let's pop it in and write some automation and see it go. So you can see in real time, it's writing automation to Pro Tools automation volume pane. And what's great is in all those spots where our vocalist tails off at the end of the phrase, Rider is grabbing and catching those things and writing the fader accordingly. Another neat feature is that it has an internal algorithm that actually sees and understands breath components. So therefore it passes over those and doesn't ride the breath component as well. So it's a very intelligent algorithm.
So it sounds wonderful. So am I right in understanding that if I have Logic, this writes this direct into Logic's automation track?
Yes, that's correct. That's right.
So if you don't like what it's done, you can edit it afterwards?
Yep, just like in most other applications, back in write mode, it has a touch control. So if we go back to the section where we just wrote automation, I can play back and I can take control. So you can see it made the adjustments as I grabbed the fader and updated accordingly.
Looks incredibly useful. So when is it going to be available?
Slated for the first or second week of November.
Do we know what the cost is going to be US?
800 TDM, 400 native.
Wonderful. Can't wait to try it. Thank you very much, Scott.
Thanks, Paul.